guys, welcome to episode 55, part 1 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the 3 Quarters podcast. As usual, we'd like to remind you to jump onto the hashtag Road to Japan to support the Kenya Simbas as they're still looking to qualify for the Rugby World Cup in 2019 in Japan. I'm Denima Duffield.
How you doing, folks? My name is Ngaro Kamuya.
Well, this week we had the original Ngong Road Derby.
Yeah.
So Kenya Harlequins hosted Impala Saracens.
Yeah.
And game ended 10-8 in favor of Impala.
Yeah.
Bragging rights for 1 year. 1 whole year. How was that game for you?
After how many years? But anyway.
Hey, a win is a win. A win is a win. All that matters is the W.
Exactly. But anyway, when the squads were announced, I think the feeling amongst every rugby supporter was that Queens was going to have that game.
Yeah.
People thought that Impala had taken the Ngong Road Derby for granted and had chosen what people thought by all standards was a weak team.
Yeah.
I remember reading a tweet by Pogi Ndonga, Out-Shape Balls, and he was like, look, I was looking forward to Ngong Road Derby until I saw the squad. Then he said, I guess it's going to be Queen 7, the tally is going to be Queen 7 and Impala 1. Mm-hmm. As it turned out, that was not going to be the case. On a couple of forums that I am on WhatsApp, and we were chatting about when the squads were released, and we were chatting about how the game is going to turn out. And I told guys that, look, it's not a star-studded squad, but with Ian Minjere coming back, I had a feeling that Impala just might have it or might sneak in a win against Queens. I thought that looking at the tight five that Impala had chosen, Dennis Karani, popularly known as Dadex, Daniel Ndome, Anthony Orege, Davis Makori, and Reina Omondi, coming up against Brian Oboa, Edino Seko, Paul Kioko, popularly known as Nzioks, Kenya Simbas captain Wilson Kopondo, and Tony Mutai. I thought Queens were actually going to have the better game in terms of the forward play, and therefore it would give them a good platform for the backs to execute. They had a pretty decent backline.
Yes, they did.
I think Queens' problem is more to do with technical, because as much as, yes, we do understand and we do appreciate the fact that some of their players did not play up to par versus Cabras, I don't think they should have been dropped from Team 1. I look at Laila Siligwa, I look at Dennis Muhanji, and I see the games they had for Team 2, which were very good games. Relegate them at least to the bench, because these guys have been playing for years, therefore they have the mental capacity to handle derbies. Right? Drop them to the bench, then let them come on and try and earn their jerseys back. But when you bring in now Solomon Okia, you bring in Joseph Oredo, these are guys who still haven't, gotten the things or.
There's also the fact, I think, of when you've played longer, you know what the Ngong Road Derby means.
Yes.
I mean, for Joseph Oredo, he's just come in from Uganda. I mean, he's not even Kenyan. He's just come in. So for him, to be honest, it's just another game.
Yeah.
Yes, he knows it's a derby, but he won't be as passionate as a person who's been through it. Who's
played in numerous of these derbies. I mean, Dennis Muhanji, Laila Siligwa, these guys have been playing for Queens for the last 8 years or thereabouts. So it was a personnel problem, but also, let's be honest, and you see, and this is the most unfortunate thing about very many fans in Kenya. You're here making noise about the referee, for example. Yesterday they chose the referee. We know that KRSS, Kenya Referees Association, have gone on strike because of wrangles between them and the Kenya Rugby Union, and it was as a result of that we didn't have referees available for this match day. Somebody stepped in to ref both Team 2 and Team 1 games, and there were quite some questionable calls. But look, like we always say, the referee is just like the bounce of the ball. It's part of the game. Queens on the day did not have it.
No, they didn't. I mean, I remember one of the Queens supporters after the game was saying, you guys can blame the ref, but the ref was making mistakes on both sides. Yes, of course. I mean, some of the mistakes are mistakes that, really cost either Queens or Impala. But it was on both sides.
Yes, it was on both sides. It was across the board. And their guys were just off. Isaac Adibu was off. David Ambunya at first center was off.
Wilson
Kopondo was off. It was just, to me, it was just a terrible showing by Queens. And Impala matched up. They dominated the scrums. In fact, all the set pieces they dominated. They dominated the scrum. They dominated the breakdown situation. They dominated the lineouts. And they were able to give their backs a good platform to execute their plays. Neto Simiyu made a very ordinary backline look world class.
Honestly, yes. Yes. I mean, you mentioned the backs, and I was just thinking, the backs. Honestly, I felt the Impala forwards, like that was their game. They were grinding. I mean, but the backs.
Yeah.
You know, they were on, they were off,
Yeah.
mostly off.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of the time you saw Samson Onsomu, the scrum half for Impala, using the blind side, and it wasn't working, but he kept using the blind side. And you're like, so what's wrong with the open side? Clearly.
Onsomu, by his standards, did not have a decent game. But you see what I'm saying is that Neto was able to get his backline moving. Like, Neto Simiyu made a very ordinary Yoru, Ishmael Mukaya, Billy Omondi coming up against David Abukumbunya, Alex Olaba.
Yeah.
Any day you'd think the Queen's center pairing was going to have a field day. But Neto was able to get his guys running. That's something Isaac Adimo didn't have. And with Ian Minjiri holding the number 15 and being there and being a seasoned player, he was going to be able to control everything and put the backline in place.
Yeah.
And like their second try, man, it was Ian Minjiri again.
Yeah, it was Ian Minjiri. Yes,
it was Ian Minjiri's try. So by all means, I had a chat with Impala chairman Bill Gidinji after the game, and he was like, look, just say that we played well. And I'm like, look, Impala did play well on the day, and hats off to them. They came, they saw, and they conquered. And Queens need to work on a lot.
Yeah, but before we move on to
the results.
Yeah, the results for the other games.
Yeah.
Because banter is banter.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I feel, going into this game, it was Queen's game to lose.
Yeah.
And they lost.
Yeah, they lost.
And they lost.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was Queen's game. It was Queen's game to lose, and they lost. And they have a lot of work to do because, truth is, they don't have easy games coming up. They're playing KCB next week, and they're trying to make the playoff. Remember, this is a shortened season, so they need to work on a hell lot if they need to make it to the playoffs.
Well, good luck to them.
Yep, good luck to them.
In other news, Impala!
Yep, so for the other results for match day 6, we had Nakuru playing Homeboys at home, and they lost 16-23. We had Mwamba lose to KCB 15-27. We had Nondis lose to Cabras 20-40, which I must shock you. I hear the game was 7-3 to Cabras at halftime.
Yeah,
so you wonder what happened.
What happened in the second half?
In the second half. Mombasa lost to Strathmore 8-28. Black Blood beat Kisii 24-8. And of course, our feature game of the week, Queens losing to Impala 8-10.
Funny enough, the previous week we had very high scoring games, and then this week we had very low scoring games, with the exception of Cabras.
Yes, I did.
and Nondis.
Yeah, it low. But I mean, if you have Mwamba versus Mombasa, Impala versus Kisii, you're going to have high scoring games. But that was the action for match day 6, and that's how the results were. Well, by the way, I must add that recently it has come out that Nondis have been deducted 10 points. Because apparently they've been fielding ineligible players this Kenya Cup season. That moves them down to number 10, but Nondis are going to appeal that decision. Truth is that something doesn't add up there, because Kenya Rugby Union just doesn't wake up 6 weeks later and say that, look, you've been fielding people who...
I mean, what's been happening for 6 weeks?
What has been happening for 6 weeks, and this has been public knowledge. Mark Ongayo, Moses Becky, the guys from
Actually,
Cabras.
everyone knew they moved.
So Nondis will be appealing that decision come Monday, so we wait and see how that goes. But anyway, that was the action that has happened match day 6, and it's just good to notify guys that Nondis have been deducted 10 points and currently sit number 10.
And just in case they're wondering what happened.
Exactly,
Well, moving on to match day 7, we've got Mombasa hosting Nakuru at Mombasa Sports Club. We've got Nondis hosting Kisii at Jamhuri Showgrounds, but at 2 p.m. Because we've also got Homeboys hosting Mwambas at the same ground, so it's a Homeboys home game at 4 o'clock. And then we've got KCB hosting Quins at the Lions Den, which is going to be a big game, definitely. And we've also got Impala hosting Cabras at Impala. But our feature game will be Strathmore versus Black Blood at Madaraka.
At Madaraka, Mombasa versus Nakuru. Nakuru are going to be too strong for Mombasa.
Yeah, definitely.
Nondis versus Kisii. I think Nondis are going to beat Kisii. KCB versus Queens. I'm going to be pragmatic here. What we are seeing, KCB are going to ride over Queens. With what we are seeing.
With what we're seeing.
Homeboys versus Mwamba. I think Homeboys are too strong for Mwamba. Impala versus Cabras. I honestly feel that this is going to be the first loss Cabras are going to have this season. I think Impala are going to beat them. But again, it's
I love Impala.
Yeah.
I love Impala, I do. But Cabra seems to be their bogey team. So I don't know about that
This is
one.
a contentious one, but we will wait and see. Strathmore versus Black Blood. I think Strathmore just have too much in their tanks to beat Black Blood.
At the moment, yes, I think I would also agree with you. But guys, we'd like to know what you think. Remember, you can do this by following us on Instagram, liking our page on Facebook, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I'm Damien Duffield.
And I'm Naro Kamuya.
Stay tuned for part 2.